And along the next 1 hour, we will be together taking up all your stock-related queries. So don't forget to call us on the numbers available to you. You can also write to us on WhatsApp, but we do urge you to pick up your phones and dial us, the numbers flashing on your screen. Today, we're being joined by Avinash Gorakshakar on the fundamentals and Sarvendra Srivastav on the technicals. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Let's begin with our first query. Anita has written to us from Gurgaon and she holds 200 shares of Kfin Technologies at 1,055 rupees a piece, and she's sitting on a profit of about 4,500. Avinash, taking this question to you, what's your sense on Kfin Tech, and should Anita continue to hold her positions?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
My sense is, Kfin Tech is a capital market ancillary, which actually grows as the capital market participation in India grows. So my sense is, she's just purchased the stock, she's made a small profit, but I think the real upside in this company can come only over the next, say, 12 to 18 months. We are seeing buoyant capital markets, a lot of public issues coming out. So, obviously, as more and more capital market offerings come in from both the existing as well as from the new companies, I think the opportunity for a company like Kfin Tech is definitely quite immense, because their primary business is, they are registrars to the public issues, registrars to existing public limited companies, and business grows exponentially as the capital market grows. So I think keep a time frame of at least 12 to 18 months. Apart from CAMS, Kfin Technologies is one of the promising, registrar players in the market, and it's a very sticky business, more of an annuity business. And as more and more companies grow, I think the potential to increase business definitely is going to be much better. So it's a great business, but I think you need to stay invested at least for the next 12, 18 months and keep it as a medium to long-term call.
Understood. Thanks for that view. And let's go across to another WhatsApp query. Sunita holds 100 shares of Castrol at 124 rupees. And she hasn't mentioned the time horizon, so I'd like to take both fundamental and technical view on the counter. Firstly, Avinash, coming to you, talking about the fundamentals of Castrol, are you positive on the company? What does its order book look like? What are the valuations? If you could just shed some light on that.
Can you please repeat the name?
Castrol.
Okay. See, Castrol is an MNC company which operates in the lubricant space. They are market leaders. And basically, one big positive for a company like Castrol and for the entire lubricant sector is that crude prices have now softened. Castrol's raw material is basically a derivative of crude prices. And whenever crude prices fall, for them, the benefit directly, goes to the profit before tax level, because it's a very profitable business. In fact, they are a cash-rich company. They've got no debt on the books. Their operating cash flows are also positive. So they don't require external funds. It's a very well-funded business. And in the last couple of quarters, what we have seen is that the auto sector, as well as the industrial sector, where Castrol is quite dominant, volumes have shown good kind of volume growth, almost 8 to 9%. So I think my sense is that this quarter numbers also were pretty solid. So you could expect a decent growth in the coming year. Hopefully, crude prices remain soft. The profitability is bound to improve, and that is going to re-rate this stock. But it's a slow mover, so I think investors should look at it as a long-term investment. If the investor already holds these shares, I think keep a time frame of at least next 12 to 15 months, because our hope is that automotive sector is now going to bounce back quite significantly, and that is going to benefit a lubricant player like Castrol quite solidly.
Absolutely. Thanks for that view. And Sarvendra, since Avinash said that this counter is for a long-term purpose, so do you also hold the same view? But if somebody has invested in this counter for short-term, so what would your suggestion be?
Yeah, I first of all, a very good evening to the panel, and after a long time doing a show with Avinash. Big good evening to him also. Coming to Castrol, I think I would say that it's broadly in a range, but the range right now is very, very tight. So you are kind of trading between that 200 to 215 mark. It's been now like what, almost 2-3 months. So resolution either side is definitely possible here, which means you might get an upside breakout that leads you to around 240-ish on the upside. But that, I think, to me, would be a good area to take some profits, because I would presume here that my view on crude is slightly different, and I think they will not remain soft going forward next 12-18 months. And I think this could be one stock which will have to bear that brunt if at all. So my sense is that crude is headed towards 9,500. I'm talking about the Brent here, and right now we are around those I think 66, 65 levels. So that's going to be a big move over the next 12, 18 months. And I think once you get a upside breakout here and you get 230, 240, book out, you might get it back at 180, 170. So 170, 180 is the risk. Upside, I think 230, 240 possible.
Okay. Thank you so much for that view. And let's go across to our first caller joining us on the phone line. Amol is here from Noida. Hi, Amol. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Please go ahead with your question.
Actually, I just want to know what is the right entry level from the technical charts for RCF. And if Sarvendraji do not think that this is the right stock to enter, considering the monsoon season, so I would like to request which will be the best stock to enter, right? And at what level?
Okay. Sarvendra, taking this question to you directly. Amol from Noida currently wants to know whether this is the right time to enter Rashtra Chemicals and Fertilizers. Now, being a chemical and fertilizer company, it has not performed well in the past couple of days, but did see an uptick of about 10% in the past 1 month itself, 9.25 to be precise. What's your take, and do you think these levels are good enough to enter?
No, I'm afraid I don't think like that. I'm thinking here that possibly I'm getting slightly very overbought conditions here on medium to longer term charts. So risk rewards to me, even though it might be a good stock, it trades well near budget, and especially near budget, I think it trades well, all these stocks. But as I said, chemicals can get a negative brush with crude itself. That can be a sentiment dampener, and this stock itself is very overbought. I don't see very good risk rewards going forward. So hardly I see maybe a 15-20 point upside currently as of today's view. And I would still presume that we will go back towards the 100-110 mark. The 100 psychological mark, I think, will get tested on this one going forward. So I would say that for good levels, you have to wait for some time. I think 110, 120 will be area where you can start looking at it.
All right. So are you suggesting a hold on the counter, Sarvendra?
No, I am suggesting a sell on rise.
Okay. Got it. Now let's go across to a caller joining us from Chandigarh. Hi, Rahul. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes. Please go ahead with the query.
I have a query regarding Finolex Cables. Their quarter 4 results were out today.
Yeah.
Results seems decent.
Yeah.
And I want to ask, are these the right levels to invest in this stock on a long-term basis?
Yeah. Okay, and you're a long-term investor. So Avinash, directing this question to you, it came out with its result and currently it's trading at 983. So do you think these levels are elevated, or these are the correct levels to enter if somebody wants to invest in this counter for long-term?
Yeah, I think, power cables has been one area where we have seen a lot of companies like Polycab, KEI, these companies have put out very strong numbers. And I think clearly the order book for most of these companies is extremely strong. Power generation demand is growing. And I think, looking at the fact where power is concerned, I think a lot of infrastructure projects have been funded by the government. So to that extent, power cables are going to play a very significant role. And I think Finolex Cables is the market leader. It's one of the old players which not only operates in the power and telecom cable side, but it also has a very large exposure on the ancillary, fast-moving, products where basically electrical switches, electrical points, these are also areas where the company is actually having a large exposure. So I think if the investor has a 12 to 18 month time frame, I think you can definitely accumulate in a small way. I think you should not buy all the stocks in one go. Keep a SIP approach so that he can take the advantage of market volatility. One thing which is also critical about Finolex Cables is that it's got a very large, reserve at the end of the year, that is FY25. And therefore, there could be a good announcement on a bonus issue, which is long awaited by the markets. So I think if he's a retail investor who wants to stay invested for a medium to long term, I think he can buy in SIP mode and definitely make a decent risk reward over the medium term.
All right, so buy in SIP mode. And Sarvendra, I'd also like to take your view on the counter. What are the charts suggesting? Firstly, and somebody for who wants to invest in this counter, who's a new investor. So, are these the correct levels to enter?
See, I think when I look at the whole journey and I look at the whole journey slightly long term, I think broadly it has completed some very important targets when it went to around, I think 1600 plus, I think levels of around 1700. So from there, we had a very sharp correction. So almost more than half is what the stock possibly did, went all the way till 800 odd. A bounce back is what I will say here. The bounce back is already on, possibly. The bounce back is already happening, and I think the best case into this bounce could lead you towards that 1050, 1100 mark. Beyond that, I have no visibility right now. So it's a purely short-term 1 to 3 month call. Around those areas, possible 1050, 1100. But beyond that, I would not be able to comment right now.
Okay, no issues. And now we're being joined by Ram on the phone line from Chennai. Hi Ram, good evening, Vanakkam.
Yeah, hi team, good evening.
Good
I really
evening.
appreciate the entire team for continuing this show. Like it is for benefiting to like individual investors like me around the world.
Thank you so much.
My query is regarding ITC. I'm holding around 200 shares of ITC at average of 280. Sorry, like 418 rupees. So I want to know, like, BAT is selling the shares now. So I want to understand, like, I am having around 50,000 corpus for ITC. Should I invest now or I should wait for some time? The stock will come less than 400. So I want to know the long-term perspective of this stock.
Okay, and you want to invest more in ITC, right? You're interested in investing more money.
Yeah. Is this the right time or should I wait for some days? Like it should go like 400. Most of the places they are telling like ITC will go below 400. So that is the deal price. Like that. I want to know.
Understood. Avinash, Ram from Chennai currently holds 200 shares of ITC at 418 rupees a piece. The stock was down about 3% in trade today, and this, of course, coming after BAT, which is British American Tobacco, selling a 2.3% stake in the company. And this is a second such stake reduction after BAT reduced about 3.5% stake last year as well. Do you think this is significant for ITC as a conglomerate itself? And number two, do you think the price of ITC will stoop below 400 levels for Ram to invest in it again?
Yeah, first of all, see, I think if the investor has purchased ITC, he has to take a longer term call because, this is one company which has always rewarded shareholders with good dividends. The industry in which they operate, like, now the hotel business has been hived out into a separate company that is ITC Hotels, but they still continue to hold a major stake there. So my sense is that, if the investor can look at the next 12 to 18 months, because, volume growth in the past few quarters has been little tepid. But yes, I think going forward, hopefully, the coming year, that is FY26, if the volume growth improves to 8-9%, and considering the fact that their FMCG business, they've got other, business also, which is going to drive growth significantly. I think the fourth quarter numbers this time, which came out, was slightly disappointing, hardly a 2% growth in profit. And there was an exceptional income of almost 15,000 crores. So if you strip it off, then I think markets were not very happy because the performance was more or less flat. But going forward in the coming year, hopefully we have a good monsoon. If volume growth for the cigarette business and the FMCG business picks up, then I think I'm not, looking at a price below 400 rupees. I think the stock could possibly remain a range-bound, stock. And most importantly, BAT has sold, 2% stake, as you rightly said. We would be getting, the list today. I think a lot of appetite was generated for this stake, which was divested by. So I think this is definitely a good kind of indicator.
Yes,
so
Avinash.
Keep a time frame of 12 to 18 months, and I think stay invested.
All right. And with that, viewers, we are getting a breaking news. SEBI has banned IndusInd Bank's ex-CEO Sumant Katpalia and 4 others from securities market. Let's go across to my colleague Vishwanath Nair. Vishwanath, please give us more details about this latest development that has come in.
Right. So what has come from SEBI's interim order is essentially an investigation into the alleged insider trading that was happening at IndusInd Bank, and a lot of details in the order. I mean, yes, the finality of that order is that Sumant Katpalia and Arun Khurana have been banned from the securities market, and that is an important development. But adding on top of that are serious findings at IndusInd Bank. The first and foremost of which is that according to an investigation that SEBI conducted of all the emails exchanged between senior management, it is clear that in December of 2023, the bank had already known about the issues in the derivative trading portfolio. The bank's CFO had already alerted the senior management in December 2023. Remember that it was only in March 2025 that the bank came out and said that it had found these issues, but they had known at least a year and a half before any of this happened. Then again, the senior management at the bank had appointed KPMG to do an external validation of whatever the internal team was finding as gaps in the accounting portfolio, in the derivatives accounting portfolio. And by February of 2024, KPMG had submitted its report, which claimed a 2,000 crore gap. And this essentially means that the bank knew well in advance, or at least its officials knew well in advance, that there was a serious gap in the derivatives accounting portfolio. And according to SEBI's detailed order, there are 5 notices, of which, of course, Sumant Katpalia and Arun Khurana are the most important, but also Anil Rao, who is currently one of the 2 people running the bank. He also was aware of these developments, and that they used this unpublished price-sensitive information to conduct certain trades. These trades were done in December 2023. At that point in time, the senior management fully knew what was happening at the bank, and they did not disclose it to anybody, but they did sell down shares that they owned. And that's why SEBI has called this a potential insider trade, and that's why it's taking this action against these 5 individuals. But again, I'm repeating myself, Sumant Katpalia and Arun Khurana are clearly the primary drivers of all of this. But of course, there are other senior officials at IndusInd Bank also involved in this. So a lot of very big disclosures, very big revelations coming from this SEBI order. Essentially, if you remember on the 10th of March, when Sumant Katpalia and Arun Khurana came on an analyst call and disclosed all of these accounting discrepancies, at that point in time, they had said that they found out about it only recently in the middle of 2024, after which they had appointed an external agency to look into this matter, and they were awaiting a report from that external agency. But it's clear from the SEBI order that they were aware of all of these issues much before that time period, and that a separate external investigation had already been conducted, which had pegged the hit on the bank's balance sheet at about 2,000 crore. So significantly large developments coming in at IndusInd Bank.
Okay. And Vishwanath, for all our viewers who are joining and watching this news develop at the moment, as you explain, does it in any way affect the onboarding of the next CEO or the next top management that will take over and sort of clear this mess in any way?
We'll have to wait and see who exactly comes in at the bank. At this point in time, of course, the management is, the board has mentioned that they are looking into this entire matter, and that they have termed it as a suspected fraud. So that investigation and potential action against the people involved will be a separate issue from appointing a new CEO. So we'll have to see, at what point this entire appointment process is. Of course, the board has said that June 30 is their deadline to send a list of names to the RBI. That the board is confident that they'll be able to send the names much before the June 30 deadline. We're already at the end of May and the list has not gone yet. But we'll find out more about that later. But the new CEO, of course, it will be at the back of their mind, the kind of structural sort of issues at IndusInd Bank and the kind of severe accounting issues and the kind of culture that is going on at IndusInd Bank. These are all issues that the potential new CEO will be thinking about before taking up the IndusInd Bank role, in the future.
Thank you so much, Rishi, for explaining that to us. And viewers, just summarizing what the news is. Number one, there are a couple of serious findings at IndusInd Bank. Number one is that Sumant Katpalia, along with 4 other members of the bank, have been banned from basically exercising any kind of trade on the exchanges. And these people are Arun Khurana, Sushant Saurav, Rohan Jatana, and Anil Marco Rao. Now, it is also clear that back in December of 2023, the bank already was aware of the internal discrepancies with regards to the derivatives portfolio. KPMG was appointed in January 2024 to conduct external audits and assess these discrepancies. And also, ex-CEO Sumant Katpalia was aware of the derivative accounting gap in 2023. Plus, SEBI says that they may have used this information for insider trading as well. So all these developments regarding IndusInd Bank is extremely important and raises a lot of questions, not on just what has happened so far, but what will happen in the future with regards to laying out a clear roadmap for the future of this very substantial bank. And on that note, I'd like to take up another WhatsApp query written to us by Sebastian from Cochin. He currently holds 200 shares of IndusInd Bank at 816 rupees apiece and is asking whether he should hold or sell. And Avinash, tossing this question to you, I'd like to ask you, not just for Sebastian, but everyone who is currently invested in IndusInd Bank, what should their strategy now be? Because every week there is a new development and maybe in some way or the other disappointing.
Yeah, I think, not only retail investors, but even the institutional investors are disappointed because this is a corporate governance issue which has actually magnified over a period of time. I remember in December, once the first news about the derivative loss came, the management clearly indicated that the fourth quarter would be a normal quarter and things would be back on track. But the business outlook, which was shared by them, actually showed a lot of concerns and most importantly, a slower activity on the business side. And finally, when the fourth quarter numbers were delivered, I think it was something which was a horrific performance. The bank recorded an operating loss and a very significant net loss. My sense is that, a bank obviously has, trust, which is the biggest asset with its depositors and stakeholders. So I think, now when this development happened, it will take a long time for this stock to get re-rated. I think numbers have to come. I think the markets would be looking at least reasonably good numbers where the profitability comes back and normalcy comes in. Ashok Hinduja, who's the promoter of the company, has already gone on record saying that they would be investing whatever funds are required. So, that is definitely good. But the damage has already been done. And I think you could possibly see for the next 6 to 12 months, this stock could at best be a market performer. If the investor has invested, my suggestion is just hold on for the next 12 to 15 months. This bank is not going to disappear. I think the government would also do necessary activity to ensure that the bank stays afloat. But recovery from this price and getting a re-rating will take a little bit of time. Maybe the next 12, 15 months, you have to hold on if you don't want to book a capital loss. My sense is it's better to wait because things will gradually improve, but yes, it will take some time.
Right. Thanks for that view, Avinash. With that, let's go across to a caller joining us from Bengaluru. And before we go to our caller, I would like our viewers who are watching us right now to just note that this is your chance to get all your stock-related queries answered. So what are you waiting for? Just pick up your phones and call us right away. The numbers are there on your screens. And with that, we are joined by Ravi from Bengaluru. Hi, Ravi. Good evening.
Good evening. I just want to know Jupiter Wagons. I hold 60 shares at the rate of 355. I purchased 1 month back and I think it is trading around 420 or something.
Yeah.
Should I add more or should I hold on for a longer period? I don't mind holding on for a longer period like 1 year or 2 years time.
Understood.
So I want the experts' advice on this.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, taking the fundamental view on the counter, Avinash, it came out with its quarter 4 results and which were not really good. Net profit was down, revenue was also down. So not some good numbers there. But, in totality, if we talk about the fundamentals of Jupiter Wagons, are you positive on it? And should our investors stay invested in the counter? And also, are these the correct levels to accumulate more?
So I think clearly, investor has invested at the right level. And I think looking at the business model of Jupiter Wagon, see, Jupiter Wagon has got two businesses. One is they are into railway wagon manufacturing, and where they have got order book of almost 4.5 to 5,000 crores. So order book visibility is very strong. They are also present on the commercial vehicle side, where they make bus bodies, commercial vehicle bodies, and where this business has been a legacy business for them. The company has now started looking at electric vehicles, specifically in the commercial vehicle space, and activity has already been cleared by the ARAI and all the related regulatory agencies, and hopefully in FY26 you could see these vehicles also contributing to the top line. My sense is that within the railway pack, there are very few wagon companies like Texmaco, Titagar, and Jupiter, and I think this is going to play a very important role. One quarter number may not be a great indicator to know the company's potential, but if the investor is looking at investing for the next 12 to 18 months or next 2 years, he could definitely expect a decent risk reward. See, this stock has gone up to almost 650, 700 odd levels and has then corrected. So I think now, as of now, around 400 rupees, if he wants to take a call, he has to at least stay invested for the next 2 years. Only then he can get a decent risk reward.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And now we're being joined by Radhe Shyam from Kasturi Cup. Okay. Hi, Radhe Shyam.
Hi, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing?
Fine, ma'am. How are you?
Thank you so much for asking. I'm fine. Please go ahead with your question.
Ma'am, I have an Olectra Greentech, 1496, quantity 40.
Okay. And
Price
when did you...
1496.
Got it. And when did you purchase these shares?
About 4 or 5 months back.
Okay. Okay.
So I want, can I average or...
Okay, understood. Got your question. Avinash, I'll take this question to you, and then we'll also get our technical expert to weigh in. Radhe Shyam currently holds about 40 shares of Olectra Greentech at 1,496 rupees a piece, and the stock price of this particular company has tumbled pretty much, about over 10%, especially after Maharashtra government decided to terminate a massive order, and the stock price definitely has taken a hit. And of course, investors like Radhe Shyam are facing the brunt of it by by experiencing these losses with regards to their investment. What do you think the strategy should be right now?
So I think first of all, this news, as you rightly pointed out, the order was a very large order for almost 5 lakh buses in Maharashtra, and I think with the cancellation of this order, the market has been very disappointing, and that has got reflected on the stock price. But coming to the business model, see, Olectra Green has been one of the few large companies which is into electric vehicle buses, and they have a decent market share. They've been growing their business quite rapidly. And I think if you look at the last 2 years, I think business has grown exponentially. Going forward, my sense is that, one order may have been lost from the Maharashtra government, but there are many states where the electric vehicle buses are rapidly increasing and making their presence felt. So I think state governments are looking at this electric vehicle bus, as a very critical part of the city development. So my sense is, if the investor can hang on for some more time, I think whatever correction had to happen has happened because of the loss of the order. If the investor can stay invested for the next 12, 18 months, I think the electric vehicle business market is a very large opportunity where Olectra Green is definitely going to get more and more business going forward. So I think keep the faith and stay invested at least for the next 12, 18 months. Only then one could see a good revival in the stock price as well as in the fortunes of the company.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Avinash, for that. Now we'll have to slip into a short break, viewers, but please keep sending in your queries on WhatsApp and call in. We'll be right back for Ask Profit. Stay tuned to NDTV Profit.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
Do I buy Ola?
Should I hold CDSL for the long term?
Buy, sell or hold.
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world. Connect live, ask, decide and invest wisely.
Your portfolio, your future. Ask Profit.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What is the real picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know Your Company, powered by NDTV Profit Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers.
Hello and welcome back to Ask Profit only on NDTV Profit, a show that answers all your stock related questions. So do call us on the numbers available to you. You can also write to us on WhatsApp, but we do urge you to pick up your phones and dial us, as we have our experts who are going to talk to you live and answer all your stock related doubts. Today we're being joined by Avinash Gorakshakar on the fundamentals and Sarvendra Srivastav on the technicals. Welcome back, gentlemen, and let's dive straight into our first query right after this very short break. Ramchandra is joining us from Guntur on the phone line. Hi Ramchandra, good evening. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, good evening, madam.
Good evening, sir. Please go ahead with your question.
Can I invest in Ramky Infrastructure at current market price? Because the stock is corrected from 515 rupees to 460.
Okay.
Can I enter at this current market price?
Understood. Sarvendra, for this I will come to you. Ramchandra from Guntur wants to know whether this is the right time to invest into Ramky Infrastructure. Can we mute him? Yeah. And the stock is trading around 472 and it has also significantly corrected from the price that he mentioned. What is your sense in this?
See, I think this will definitely be a slightly high beta name, and but yeah, I one silver lining that I can see is that after post this correction, I think it's finding some supports around that 410, 420 price areas. I think whatever we see as lows are around those levels. So I think 420, 430, and max, I think it went all the way till 402. So I think between 400 to 430, let's keep it. I think there's definitely support in that area. So right now he has to time it a little properly. If he gets in right now at 470, I think this will be still higher by around 10%. Wait for an 8 to 10% correction and then slowly start investing, and don't put all your money on one single day. Just split it and possibly spread it over 5 to 10 working sessions, whatever you want to invest in. And then if you're doing it and being a technical guy, I think you will also have to keep a stop loss at below 380. If you're buying around 410, 420, keep a stop at below 380.
Understood. Thanks for that view, Sarvendra. With that, we have a caller joining us from Hyderabad. Hi, Ravi. Good evening.
Yeah, very good evening.
Yes, please go ahead with your query.
Yeah, I have a query on Belrise Industries.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to know, is it a good stock? I mean, I want to know the fundamentals. Can this stock perform in FY26? Shall I buy or shall I choose another stock?
Understood. So Avinash, directing this question to you, how is Belrise positioned itself as compared to its peers, and also considering the current valuations that it's trading at, it's trading at 97.41 PE ratio, so which is a bit highly valued, but what's your sense on the counter?
See, first of all, Belrise has been listed very recently. It's a recent public offer where the company went public recently. So, the fundamentals which are always disclosed before the public issue and which obviously come after the public issue are quite different, in the sense that, the valuations which you're talking of 97 probably is based on FY24 numbers. On FY25, we don't know what's the kind of current numbers the company has presented. But my guess is the company is a very large auto ancillary player to the two-wheeler sector, and where it competes with large players like Lumax Industries. And I think the management has been very hopeful that the passenger car segment also is going to offer them a very massive growth opportunity. And I think opportunity is very large for these kind of auto component players, because clearly these relationships are not built overnight. They take years to come and get built over the OEM. So my sense is, if the investor has purchased it at this level, as of today, he has to give at least a couple of years for this company to perform. I think, in most of these IPOs, the IPO price may not be attractive, or maybe the numbers may not reflect the true potential. You have to stay invested for the next couple of years to get the real benefit of the entire growth journey of the company. So company is good, management is also very competent, but you need to give in some time to get a decent risk reward.
Okay.
Yes, so let's go across to a caller joining us from Kurnool. Hi Mansingh, good evening.
I think this is...
Mansingh, are you there on the phone line? Okay, so I have his query. I think we've lost the line. He holds 121 shares of Chennai Petro at 389 a piece. He's looking for a 1 year view on the counter. He is sitting on a profit of almost 40,000 there. Avinash, what do you have to say on this particular company? Are you optimistic?
I think it's very nice to hear that an investor has made such a lot gain in an oil marketing company, because traditionally oil marketing companies are supposed to be trading favorites. I think Sarvinder will definitely back me on this. But I think looking at the kind of tailwinds in the crude oil prices, which I think should stabilize at the current odd levels, I think at least 25 to 30% the investor should book out. Because in case crude prices go up, then I think the whole equation for oil marketing companies, including Chennai Petro, could get slightly impacted. So I think 25 to 30% he can exit, and the rest he can hold on. The reason is both the aviation and the automotive sectors are doing very well. The throughput is also increasing. And I think hopefully, if till December we have softer crude prices, the company should do well. So I think my guess is that partly book profit and partly hold the shares for a medium-term kind of time frame.
Okay, understood. And now we have another caller joining us from Indore. Kamal is here on the phone line. Hi Kamal, good evening.
Yeah, hello, good evening, ma'am. So my question is regarding, so I have around 100 shares of Action Construction Equipment. So I have just bought it around 1200 level.
Okay.
And my timeline is I can hold up to 1 year. So company is good. I'm tracking since I think 4 or 5 years. This stock and result is also good, but why the stock is not moving? So just wanted to view on this. And can I add more quantity on this price?
Okay, and Kamal, since you have been tracking the stock for the last 4 to 5 years, what stood out for you, and tell us something about the stock?
Yeah, so this stock is, I think, market leader in the crane. So almost holding 60% of market share and continuously growing since 5 years. I have not seen any downward in the revenue.
Okay.
So this was the reason to just bought this stock.
Okay, understood. So you want to know why is the stock price now stagnant, correct?
Yeah, right.
Okay, got your question. Avinash, I'll take this question to you. Kamal from Indore currently holds 100 shares of Action Construction at 1,200 rupees a piece. The stock has seen a dip of about 4% in trade today itself and is trading around 1,249. Now, while Kamal does sit on a meager profit via this investment, he is curious to know why there is not a dramatic movement in the stock price if the company itself is fundamentally good. What's your take on this?
Yeah, first of all, I think I heard the investor saying that he's tracking the company since the last 5 years. I think 5 years back, the stock was a 3-figure stock. And, today it's become a 4-figure stock. So there's a lot of value creation already created. But yes, I think going forward, we believe that Action Construction is a very large player in the mobile crane space. They hold almost 60 to 65% market share. They also make tractors, and they also now entered the defense segment. So going forward, in the next 2 years, you could expect a little bit of consolidation, because both the revenue and the profit levels have expanded, the base has increased. So I think, normally what happens is the company delivered a very strong set of numbers. There was profit booking. And as everyone is aware, once the results are out, fresh buying doesn't come. But I think investors who have invested early have booked out, their gains. So there's nothing fundamentally wrong with the company. The management commentary post the Q4 numbers have been very strong. They're very positive on FY26 also, and with the kind of infrastructure projects the government has announced, across both manufacturing as well as public sector kind of services like metros, a lot of activity is going to propel demand for action construction. So my sense is, the investor should at least look at the time frame of at least couple of years. I think 12 to 18 months is a minimum time frame, because as of this level, the risk reward may not look very attractive, but you will have to wait for FY26 and FY27 numbers, which would obviously re-rate the stock. So keep investing in companies with a 2-year time frame, because these companies are already identified by everybody in the market. At 1200 rupees, there's nothing new. So that is probably the reason the stock is consolidating, but future growth will definitely come in once the next couple of years numbers are pretty solid.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Avinash. With that, we are joined by Dheeraj from Hyderabad on the phone line. Hi, Dheeraj. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah.
Today I bought actually Cummins India shares. 61 shares of Cummins India at 2960. They are declaring their results today, ma'am.
Yeah.
So since last 1 year, this stock is underperforming. Can we see an upside from current levels, ma'am?
Okay. And are you a short-term investor, Dheeraj?
Yes, ma'am. For the next 3 months.
3 months.
And can we invest in Mazagon Dock also at current levels? Is my one more
Dheeraj, I'm afraid that we'll only be able to take only one query at a time.
Okay,
you can call us again tomorrow,
okay,
and we'll cater to your query then. Now, coming to you, Sarvendra, on the technical front, in 3 months, are you seeing any sort of, uptick in the counter? Because what I can see from the charts is that it's in a consolidation zone. It hit its lowest, on 9th of May, and now it's sort of consolidating. So what's your sense on the counter?
Yeah, broadly, I think I would agree with you that it's between 2700 to 3100 range. So you guys are already into charts, already seeing that. So that range is identified. I have just put the numbers 2700 to 3100. If he has to incrementally make some more money here, I think you will have to break the range on the upside. But currently there are no signatures, and the stock trades below the long-term marker, which is the 200-day. So I think it has to at least go past that 3050, 3100 mark. And I think broadly it also coincides somewhere around the 200 days also there, just slightly lower. But 3100 is a conditional buy here. If at all he has to make some money in 3 months, over the next week, fortnight, you should look at a breakout of 3100 for confirmation. If that's not happening, then probably the stock might slip a little more towards that 2700 mark. In that case, in the short term, he will be losing some money. So he has to keep a very tight stop here. And I think below 2880, since it's a trading call, below 2880, he should get out of the stock, because in that case, then the stock will go towards the lower end of that range. So with a 2880 stop loss, you could look for a breakout of 3100. Timeline is 15 days. If it's not happening, then also you are exiting. Whatever the rate, you are exiting. So until there is no breakout, please don't trade momentum. That's the bottom line I want to say. There's no breakout here, and you're trying to chase momentum. Either I would have been happy if you are at the lower end of this range and trying to buy it around that 2700 mark. So middle of the range you bought. In fact, the top end of the range you have bought. So you would have idly waited for a breakout to get that momentum.
Okay, understood. Thank you so much for that, Sarvendra. And now I'm being joined by Shweta from Hyderabad on the phone line. Hi, Shweta. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, ma'am.
Please go ahead with your question.
Ma'am, actually, I want to buy HAL, ma'am.
Okay.
HAL. So is it the right time to buy now, ma'am?
Okay, understood. Sarvendra, going back to you on this, Shweta from Hyderabad currently wants to know whether this is the right time to buy HAL. Now, HAL is currently trading around 5,020 rupees a piece, and has seen a growth of about 13% in the last 1 month. Of course, added momentum seen after defense became the epicenter of, traders and investors, especially after our geopolitical tensions. What is your take, and do you think Hindustan Aeronautics is fairly valued to enter at the moment?
I think Avinash will be better to comment on the value part. But yeah, technically, I would say that such consensus stock, and whether the sentiment is high, you've had a very nice run up from around 3K to 5K. So I think for that sentiment, the best is already within the move. So it's already there. So not in anything incremental, more juice left with that news, unless until something new comes out and new developments happen, or technically you take out those 5,700 approximate highs. That I don't see right now happening with the volume and momentum signatures. So I think, and the range has now become so wide, 3,000 to 5,700 is a huge range. So you will have to wait for some cool off if you want to re-enter the stock, because risk rewards are no longer that great, which they were at the start of the war.
Okay. Now, suppose if the risk rewards actually have cooled down for HAL and many of these counters, Avinash, what is your sense for investors, or your suggestion and advice to investors who are interested in defense? Because lately on Ask Profit, we have been getting a lot of queries about viewers being interested to, enter these defense companies, especially because of the kind of run-up they have seen. And now that, say, if the risk reward is not favorable and the returns also may have cooled down for at least some time, what should investors do?
See, first of all, I think I agree with what Sarvendra has said, that I think, market sentiments for defense companies have got elevated after Operation Sindoor, where for the first time the Indian weapons were tested. And that was the big trigger point for companies like Bharat Dynamics, Bharat Electronics, HAL. And we saw a very strong movement in a very short period of time. But I think, just last week I saw numbers from Bharat Dynamics. The profit has actually dropped by 5%. And obviously HAL has done a decent job. But if you look at the valuations, these valuations definitely are driven more by sentiment than by fundamental values. And I think, on a very humorous note, I could only tell you that unless we have another war quickly, most of the defense stocks are unlikely to get re-rated quickly. So I think, unless the investor wants to buy it for a delivery period, wait for some time, the markets will correct, you will get good entry points. And probably at a lower level, the risk reward could be in your favor. So even at these levels, I think it would not be wise to buy a HL at these levels, considering that most of the positives have already got factored into the price. So we'll have to wait for some more data points, some more news flows. Only then one can take a fresh call. But as of now, I think I would caution, please stay away from HL as of now.
Okay, so stay away from HAL for now is what Avinash is suggesting for long term. Now, let's go across to a caller joining us from Ludhiana. Hi, Vijay Kumar. Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, Vijay, I would like you to, I'm requesting you to please turn down the volume of your television because I'm not able to hear you properly.
वॉल्यूम कम करूं या ज़्यादा?
जी, आप अपने टेलीविजन का वॉल्यूम थोड़ा कम कर दीजिए क्योंकि सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है।
ओके।
जी, अब बताइए आपकी क्वेरी क्या है?
I bought 1500 share, Yes Bank, 21 rupees.
Okay.
हाँ, कम कर दिया जी, कम कर दिया।
हाँ जी, प्लीज बताइए। हाँ।
तो मैं इसके ना थोड़े से 2500 शेयर और ऐड करना चाहता हूँ, करूँ कि ना करूँ?
आप इसमें और ऐड करना चाहते हैं?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah.
For 4 and 5 years.
Okay, so you're a long-term investor. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Avinash, talking about Yes Bank, firstly, how is it compared to its peers? Because, it's trading at a very high P ratio when I look at HDFC Bank or an ICICI Bank or an Axis Bank for that matter. So, what's your outlook on Yes Bank if somebody has invested in the counter? And what are your top picks in the banking space in particular?
Yeah, I think for the benefit of the investor, if I talk in Hindi, is it okay?
Yeah, absolutely, please.
तो मुझे लगता है कि देखिए येस बैंक आपने 21 रुपए में खरीदा है। अगर आपका नजरिया कम से कम 2-3 साल का है तो ही आपको अच्छा पैसा इसमें बनेगा। अभी येस बैंक में एक बहुत अच्छा डेवलपमेंट हो गया कि फाइनली सुमिटोमो जो बैंक है, उन्होंने जापानीज बैंक है, जो उन्होंने कहा है कि ये बैंक में अभी इनिशियल 26% लेंगे, बाद में पूरा शेयर वो इंक्रीज भी करेंगे। तो अभी बहुत समय के बाद अभी एक मैनेजमेंट चेंज हो चुका है और ये क्लियरली जब भी कोई नया मैनेजमेंट आता है तो उनको कम से कम साल भर का टाइम लगता है जब तक वो पूरी तरह से अपने डिलीवरेबल्स मार्केट को दिखा दे। बट एक बात अच्छी है कि गवर्नमेंट ने भी येस बैंक को बचाया, उसके बाद एसबीआई ने इनको फंडिंग दी, अभी एसबीआई को भी एक अच्छा एग्जिट मिल रहा है। तो बिजनेस तो इनका बहुत अच्छा हो रहा है, लेकिन अगर आपका नजरिया 2-3 साल का है तो ही इसमें अच्छा पैसा बनेगा। अगर आपको खरीदना है तो 19-20 के लेवल पे थोड़ा थोड़ा करके एसआईपी करिए, एक शॉर्ट में पूरा पैसा मत लगाइए। बट क्लियरली बैंकिंग सेक्टर में मुझे लग रहा है कि अभी ग्रोथ जर्नी इनकी अच्छी रहेगी, क्योंकि प्राइवेट सेक्टर क्लियर आ रहा है और कहीं ना कहीं गवर्नमेंट को भी कॉन्फिडेंस है कि ये स्ट्रेटेजिक इन्वेस्टर आगे बैंक को मदद करेगा। And on the banking side, we continue to be positive on both the private as well as the PSU banks. We feel that ICICI Bank and within the PSU banks like Canara Bank look to be quite attractive and undervalued. I think looking forward for the next 6 to 12 months, when corporate capex grows, government capex increases, I think both these banks are definitely bound to do well. In fact, Canara Bank is trading below its book value, and it also has a subsidiary in the name of Kfin Homes. And plus, one of their companies, Can Bank AMC, is planning to go public. So some value unlocking will come in from there also. So I think probably ICICI Bank and Canara Bank can be accumulated at the current levels.
That view. And coming to you, Sarvendra, I'll pose this question in Hindi only so that he's able to understand. Charts में Yes Bank के जो entry level है, because वो plan कर रहे थे to accumulate more. तो इस level पे आप क्या suggest करेंगे उन्हें, या फिर आप कुछ charts में कुछ और देख रहे हैं?
देखिए, बेसिक फिल्टर जो हम सजेस्ट भी करते हैं जब पढ़ाते भी है लोगों को या समझाते हैं, तो थॉट यही रहता है कि आप अगर एक ही भाव से सब आप नहीं कर सकते। अगर आपने 21 में ही लिया है तो एक 20% का फिल्टर आपको लेके चलना ही पड़ेगा एवरेज करने के लिए। और अगर आपको लॉन्ग टर्म में किसी चीज को एक जूसी पॉइंट पे लेना है तो वो एक फिल्टर आपको लेके चलना पड़ेगा। उस हिसाब से इसमें आप 4-4.5 रुपए घटा दीजिए तो 16 रुपए का भाव, तकरीबन 17 रुपए का भाव आ जाता है। और जब आप जाके इसकी फिर चार्ट की हिस्ट्री देखते हैं तो आप देखते हैं कि भाई एक पीरियड था 2021-22 के बीच में 15-18 महीने का, जहां ये 15 रुपए के ऊपर जा नहीं पाता था और नीचे में तकरीबन 5 रुपए 10 रुपए तक जाता था। सो उस रेंज को इसने बहुत दिन ट्रेड किया। 10 से 15 रुपए की रेंज आई थिंक एक आध बार 17 तक गया है बीच में, बट ब्रॉडली आप देखें 2-2.5 साल एक 10 से 15 रेंज की इसमें पिसा था। और उसके बाद जब इसने रेंज को जब एग्जिट मारा है टुवर्ड्स द एंड ऑफ 2022, उसके बाद से ब्रॉडली उस रेंज को होल्ड किया है, तो विच इज अ गुड साइन। ठीक है, लॉन्ग रन में वो एक अच्छा साइन है, बट इतना प्रोलॉन्ग साइडवेज मूवमेंट हो गया है। बाय साइडवेज आई मीन इन द चार्ट, in that entire fall, this 10 to 21 rupee band is now almost like what 5 years, 5 साल का ये साइडवेज रुझान हो गया है। तो अब आपको एक डिसाइसिव ब्रेकआउट तो इसमें से चाहिए। ठीक है, तो वो आई थिंक जब आएगा तब आएगा, बट इनके लिए मुझे लगता है इस पूरी रेंज का जो एक 15-17 का भाव था जहां पे बहुत टाइम ट्रेड हुआ है, उस एरियाज में अगर जाता है तो ही दोबारा लेने की सोचे, नहीं तो जो अभी इनके पास करंट पोजीशन है आई थिंक उसमें बने रहे। और ऊपर में देखें कंडीशनल बाइज, अगर 25 का लेवल निकले और इनको लगे मोमेंटम वॉल्यूम है तो वहां थोड़ी एंट्री, या उससे थोड़ा हायर ब्रेकआउट्स हो तो उसमें आप थोड़ी एंट्री करें। आई थिंक वो ज्यादा बेटर स्ट्रेटजी रहेगी। एक ही भाव से सारा माल लेके बैठने से बेटर है। सो आइडियल सिनेरियो यही रहेगा कि ये 17-18 के रेंज में, अगर 15-17-18 के रेंज में आता है उस समय आप धीमे धीमे थोड़ा पैसा डालिए। इन द मीन टाइम जो आपके पास है उसमें बने रहिए।
Okay. Thank you so much for explaining that, Sarvendra. And now we're being joined by Gayatri from Jharkhand. Hi, Gayatri. Good evening.
Good evening. I am calling on behalf of my mother. Right?
Okay.
So I have a query about Netweb Tech.
Okay.
Netweb Tech, quantity 30 at the price 1670.
Okay.
And I have a long-term view, right?
Okay, go ahead. So, what would you like to know
specifically? Can I agree with, or can I buy more?
Acha, okay. And since when is your mother invested in this?
Yes.
Okay.
She's an investor.
Okay, she's an investor. No problem. Avinash, let's talk about Netweb Technologies. Gayatri from Jharkhand is currently holding 30 shares of Netweb at 1,670 rupees a piece. She's been able to make a profit of 9.78 thousand. But the disappointing part of the stock is the fact that it saw a sharp drop in the month of January and has been trading in a range-bound manner since then. What's your sense on the company? It comes from the IT hardware space and has a high PE also as compared to its peers. Would you suggest, Gayatri, to add more shares at these current levels?
First of all, Netweb Technologies is a hardware player but operates in the higher end space, and that is why the market gives it a higher valuation premium. In fact, ever since the company went public, the company has delivered very strongly on the numbers, and the markets are very happy that this is a space where very few companies operate. So in terms of the top line growth, in terms of the margins, in terms of the bottom line growth, the company has delivered very strong numbers, and they have a decent order book, which would obviously indicate that FY26 also should be a lot better. But I think, if the investor buys the stock now, I think arithmetically the average pricing for the investor would increase. He has purchased the stock at 1670. Now the price is close to 2,000 rupees. So I think unless the investor has got the next 2 to 3 years in mind, he should not do this unless, the investor can wait for the next 2 to 3 years and stay invested here, because the business will grow. The numbers will keep churning pretty well. But in terms of the valuation comfort, you will probably get the benefit only if you stay invested for the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay, thanks for that view. Avinash, with that, we are joined by a caller from Hyderabad. Hi, Snigdha. Good evening. Snigdha, are you there on the phone line? Yes, please go ahead with your query.
Yeah, I just want to inquire about PG Electroplast.
Yeah.
So I have purchased 220 shares at 810 rupees in the morning.
Okay.
So I just want to know if I hold it for the next 1 month, so I mean, would I get a good profit, or otherwise should I shift to Kfin Technologies?
Okay, and for how long are you planning to invest in it?
For 1 to 2 months.
Okay, very short-term view. Okay, so quickly, Sarvendra, if you could just tell us about PG Electroplast, how is it faring on the charts, and should Snigdha be switching to Kfin Tech, or should she stay invested in this counter?
I think both the stocks are fairly, very highly overbought, and I think they're definitely not trading stocks for me. I would suggest her that if you've already taken a trade, maybe for the week 10 days you can stay in this trade. But till the point you are in the trade, I think you should keep a stop below somewhere below 724. So 724, 723, that should be a stop area for you on PG Electroplast. And best case, since you are a 1 or 2 month kind of a trader, I think anywhere between 7 to 8% of a kind of a bounce if you get, I think that should be a good return compared to your time frame. So I think around 850, 860, I think from here, we are right now at 779. I think you should be exiting the stock. And not Dixon also, I'm not very comfortable with the kind of overbought readings that it carries. So I need a lot of cool off or time-based consolidation before you want to take a call there also. So both of them are avoid, but since she had already taken a trade, maybe a week, 10 days, she can prod, but keep a stop loss.
Okay, understood. So it's a cautious approach that you're suggesting on both PG Electroplast and Dixon. And with that, Avinash Kodakshakar and Sarvendra Srivastav, thank you so much, both of you, for joining us this evening and answering all the questions with such patience. And viewers, do keep in mind that we're live with Ask Profit both in the morning as well as in the evening. So you can continue to write us on WhatsApp, and we're available to you live on the call. So do note that number down and call us live. Also, stay tuned to NDTV Profit, as there's Profit 360 lined up for you, and I have my colleague Sanjana Chauhan joining us to explain what exactly will the bulletin entail.
Thanks, Himakshi. Thanks, Malika. We have an action-packed bulletin up ahead on Profit 360. First up, it's a breaking news update. We've already covered it on Ask Profit, but we now know that SEBI has barred former IndusInd CEO and 4 others from the share market. These are over insider trading charges. Then, of course, we know that the Lokpal has given a clean chit to former SEBI chairperson Madhvi Puri Butch. We'll be going in deep detail into that story as well. And lastly, a very, very crucial crackdown by the government on dark patterns, with Consumer Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi meeting over 50 e-commerce platforms and insisting that they conduct yearly audits. All of this and a lot more on the other side of this very short break.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
Do I buy Ola? Should I hold CDSL for the long term?
Buy, sell or hold.
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world. Connect live, ask, decide and invest wisely.
Your portfolio, your future. Ask Profit.
Do you really know the company you invest in? What is the real picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know Your Company, powered by NDTV Profit Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers.
SEBI bars IndusInd Bank's former CEO Sumant Katpalia and 4 others from buying or selling shares following an insider trading investigation. Former SEBI chief Madhvi Puri Buch gets a clean chit from the Lokpal in the Hindenburg case due to lack of evidence. The order says accusations were found to be based on assumptions. The government has directed e-commerce platforms to conduct yearly internal audits on dark patterns, deceptive tactics used to mislead consumers. Following a meeting with over 50 e-commerce companies, Consumer Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi stated that platforms must submit annual disclosure reports to the Department of Consumer Affairs. Benchmark slipped for the second consecutive session, weighed down by sharp losses in FMCG stocks, with ITC leading the decline. Nifty FMCG was the worst performer, with mid-cap and small-cap indices defying the trend. Musk's Starlink prepares to beam in India as it will kick off Phase 1 operations with satellite capacity of 600 to 700 gigabytes per second. Sources tell NDTV Profit that this could support up to 50,000 concurrent subscribers. NDTV Profit's news break confirmed TRAI proposes a fundamental shift in spectrum pricing, moving from a revenue sharing model to a pay-per-use system. Tata Sons will hold its board meeting tomorrow, where key discussions will focus on investment strategies, asset monetization and the progress of Tata Capital's IPO. Welcome to Profit 360 on NDTV Profit. I'm Sanjana, bringing you the latest on markets, national developments and international headlines over the next 30 minutes. So stay tuned as we break down the biggest stories, sector trends and expert insights. Tonight we're going to be starting out with our top focus, not just this hour, but for the last many months, the IndusInd Bank saga. We're getting breaking news in right now that the SEBI has barred former IndusInd Bank CEO Sumant Katpalia and 4 others from dealing in the share market. These individuals have been restrained from buying, selling or dealing in securities either directly or indirectly in any manner until further orders. All of this has been said in an interim order by the SEBI. Now, SEBI has also found that these executives sold stock options while being aware of the accounting discrepancies at the bank before they were publicly disclosed. SEBI is now reviewing whether these trades violated insider trading laws and the IndusInd Bank's internal code of conduct. Let me quickly go across now to my colleague Vishwanath Nair, who's been tracking and following the story relentlessly. Now, Vishwanath, a very, very massive revelation coming in right now, a huge news break. Give us all of the details, because now it appears that there is an insider trading charge.
Right, Sanjana, if you remember, the insider trading charge was something that NDTV Profit had first reported back in March when these issues had come up first. But let's get to what SEBI is saying in this case exactly. SEBI has found that not only did the management, the top management of the bank, know about the discrepancies and the accounting issues back in December 2023, they were also acting on this information and actively selling down shares that they owned to make money. And according to SEBI, this is dealing in unpublished price-sensitive information, which, according to SEBI, is not allowed under any guidelines. So, therefore, SEBI has taken an action against these 5 individuals, 2 of whom are very important. Vijay Sumant Katpalia, the ex-CEO, and Arun Khurana, the deputy CEO of the bank. Both of them have now quit the bank, of course. And the third person, Anil Rao, who is currently one of the two executives who is running the bank, because that is what the board has gotten approved from the Reserve Bank of India. So definitely a big issue as far as the propriety of these situations is concerned. Now remember that in the SEBI order, it says that in December 2023, senior management of the banks were fully aware of large accounting gaps. In fact, the internal departments at IndusInd Bank had already estimated a hit of about 2,300 odd crore. After which, in January 2024, the bank appointed KPMG to conduct an external validation of these internal claims. And KPMG, in Feb of 2024, had already told the bank that the hit will be around 2,000 crores for IndusInd Bank. So, well before they actually came out to the market and informed the average public about this issue, the bank members were already aware of these issues for at least 15 months before the rest of the world came to know. So those are serious violations that have been happening at IndusInd Bank, and this definitely raises questions about the quality of management, the quality of internal checks and balances, and the quality of how the board is conducting its activities and managing the management of the bank.
Absolutely, because this is a question that we have been asking right from the very start, right when it came to light about the RBI's suspicions, or rather their hesitancy about Sumant Katpalia. NDTV Profit has constantly asked about whether the management was in the know. But SEBI in its order also making another very crucial statement, saying that at no point during the 2.5-month investigation did SEBI close its process, and neither had they given any clean chit during this period.
Right, Sandra. So that was because there were news reports claiming that SEBI had already closed the investigation and had not found anything. This was a month ago or so, and SEBI is clarifying to the rest of the world that, listen, we never closed our investigation. We never gave anybody a clean chit. The investigation was going on at that point in time and is still ongoing. Remember that this order that SEBI has given is only an interim order. There is still completion of the entire process that is pending, after which a final order will be released. In fact, the issues that SEBI found were so egregious that SEBI had to extend its powers and go out and impound money in the bank accounts of all of these 5 people, because that is not something that SEBI usually does. It doesn't impound any money in any person's bank account. But the hit here, according to SEBI's calculations, is about 20 crore. And to that effect, to that amount, the bank accounts of all of these 5 people will be locked up to that amount, of which a big chunk is actually because of Arun Khurana, about 14.5 odd crore, and about 5 odd crore that is coming from Sumant Katpalia. The other 3 people, of course, a few lakhs, but serious concerns for sure.
My last question before I let you go. What are we looking at in terms of, IndusInd Bank and its future? Is there a risk that other senior officials were probably aware of the discrepancies but not yet named? What happens now?
Yeah, so in the SEBI order, a lot of people are named and unnamed. There are people whose names have not been disclosed, but their designations have been disclosed in the SEBI interim order, who were people who were fully aware of the developments. In fact, the CFO of the bank had highlighted these issues somewhere in the middle of 2023, and by December 2023, all of these people involved had found out things. The 5 people that SEBI has named are people who dealt in this information and went out and sold their shares, and therefore there is action against these people. But that doesn't mean that other people did not know and kept quiet. Those are separate issues which will likely be taken up, but yeah, serious concerns for sure.
Vishwanath Nair, thank you so much for that very comprehensive update. A big update coming in this evening, SEBI barring the former IndusInd Bank CEO and 4 others. We'll continue bringing you all of the developments and keep you updated. And moving on, in a major relief to former SEBI chairperson Madhvi Puri Buch, Lokpal has disposed of complaints against her in the Hindenburg matter. The anti-corruption ombudsman has further said that there is no material evidence to order an investigation against her. Charu now joining me on the phone line with more. Charu, take us through the allegations. I seem to have lost the line there with my colleague Charu. We'll try and get her connected just back in a moment. But this is the latest update coming in. If you remember, Lokpal had examined 5 allegations made against the former SEBI chairperson, and now in its order have stated that there is no merit in any of the allegations.